So this is going to be a very concise breakdown of some of the more basic postures, especially downward facing dog. So I've gotten some feedback from people saying that they hurt their shoulders in it, which I have as well. So we're just going to get right to it, and it's going to start with a focus on our hands. Something that happens is if you are rotating your hands too far in or too far out, you're going to jeopardize your shoulders. The appropriate placement for hands anatomically for most bodies, and I say most bodies because some people's hands are different, so you're really going to want to take a look at your arms. If you want to send me a picture of your down dog, do that, and we can go over it if this doesn't feel right. The forefinger, the index finger, and the thumb are going to make an L shape with the index finger pointed towards the front of the mat. Same on the other side, and there's going to be almost directly underneath of your shoulders. So when you push up, don't lose that spacing, but do press down into the hands and kind of turn them out as if you're opening two jars, and then begin to grow out of your shoulders. So that moves us into what our shoulders are doing. Some people, especially if they're hypermobile in their shoulders, are going to have problems with this. And now we are lifting up out of the hands by pushing directly up. This is going to cause the body to push backwards. Now what happens to a lot of people is they have the mobility in their shoulders to go further back, but instead of reaching up, so you're as if you're pushing up, like think about hydraulics, the way the hydraulics work, and they like come out of their socket like that. That's what you want to be happening in your shoulders. So it's not like disjointing. It's not coming this way. It's coming up and out. If that makes sense. So you're pressing up, and watch the way my shoulders go while I'm pressing up and out. They're kind of rotating out. You should broaden the back. Now I'll show you how we do it. Sometimes that might be an incorrect way of doing it, and that is when you're coming up, you thrust your nose back. Now I've just collapsed my shoulders. I've lost the integrity. We're going to take a side angle look at that so we can also see what to avoid and what that looks like from the side. Hands, toes are curled under. Also, another kind of note is that your inner arm is going to be like pointing towards each other, both of the, like my eyeball and my tattoo. It should be looking at the inside of my elbow crease on the other side and then slightly rotating out. So it's like they're looking at each other and then they're like starting to look away. That's the feeling you want to get in that elbow crease. So it's pushing up and out. Okay, so let's take a look at my shoulders from the side. And if I just let them collapse backwards like that, all that strain is happening in my armpit chest, which is going to cause like micro tears in that muscle, even if you're hypermobile. So you'll think you're going into a deep dog, but you're actually going into an impingement. So press up and out. This is going to elongate the torso. That's what you want. You want to elongate the torso, not thrusting the head in between the arms so far that you're getting a pinching sensation. So feel that. Check out the difference between my shoulders when I'm just thrusting and then what happens when I'm engaging. And that's engaging the ribs, engaging the shoulder. It'll feel like a different type of work. All right, great. So now we'll go into what we'll do with our knees and our bum, and that's also really important. Okay. And then going too far in between the shoulders. The chest should almost come, you'll feel like you're lifting out of the armpit chest in a straight fashion rather than at an angle. So the chest will come backwards. Kind of think of it as like where your thumbs are. Your chest should have like a straight top line to the thumbs. So then, kind of with your nose, look back at your knees, which are bent right now. Keep them bent. Move that chest backwards, again, like the hydraulics are moving back. And move the head slightly towards the knees. And again, you don't want to lose, don't cross that line where you've stopped becoming a straight line from the hands and you started dipping below that line. Now we'll move to what our hips are doing. The hips are going straight up in the air. They're not going back. We're not going into a plank. Sometimes I see people come back like this because they're trying to get their heels down. You don't need to have your heels down because that's actually defeating the purpose of the posture. You want to have your butt coming up, your hips coming up, 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 up. And then we sink the feet down. If you want to, keep those knees bent because that's how you're getting the engagement in the back. That's fine. You gotta stay where you belong. It's not about hitting a posture that's a perfect magazine cover where the legs are straight, because the back body is what you're strengthening and you're stretching out through the calves and the hamstrings. So it's like a stretch. You're not actually stretching it if you're like tearing it, or if you're getting into a position like this that I see people in, because they think that this is what they're supposed to look like. So they're like this, their head's forward, their chest is forward, but they're like, my heels are close to the ground. But actually, you're missing out on the benefits. So bend the knees and then bring the head back. This is where you might be, because you want to see that butt up in the air and the back sinks down only as far as the shoulders are still in the correct placement. It might sound like a lot, but as you play around with it, I think you'll get more comfortable with it. All right, so that is kind of a down dog workshop. All right, ready. So we've got a strap, which if you don't have a strap, a belt will work. Any type of belt, or even like a sash or a scarf, if you have something where you can tie it in a knot. You want to bring it to about the width of your torso, so that when you slip your arms into it, right above the elbows. Always be careful when you're using straps or any type of extra prop, that you're not putting pressure on the joints, because that is gonna compromise your stability. And if you have an outside thing that's pressing against a joint, it's very bad. So let's try this little chaturanga, what's called a modification. And we were taught this by one of our professors, and it was awesome. This is about the correct, just sit right below your bra strap. Bring your hands to, again, that L shape that we talked about. And now make sure your strap is even. And I'm just going to warn you, like at first this is going to feel crazy. It's going to feel really, really uncomfortable. But depending on what you're using, you might want to try something like a little softer. Come up to your plank. And then we're going to take a side angle to take a look at what this looks like from the side. And I think I'm going to loosen my belt just a little bit. Alright. So your strap is around your arms. right beneath the bra strap. Then we place our hands for plank. L shape, pointer finger pointed towards the front of the mat. So one of the things people do is they spread their arms out too wide when they go down into chaturanga. So this is going to maintain where you should be going with your chaturanga. So you go forward and arms go back. So it'll pinch a little bit, but it's going to teach your body how to be where it's supposed to be at with this. And then you come up into upward facing dog. So you're going to be like, oh, this feels like it's not going as far, or I'm not getting as deep, but actually you're doing the correct motion that you should. And then what's cool is if you move back into a down dog, this strap should support your head like this. And that's where your head should be. Where your head should be. I don't know what accent that is. But yeah, so that's where, if your head's rested on your strap, then you know that your down dog, so this is also kind of a little hack for checking your dog. As I said before, that might feel really awkward at first. And for those of you, not me, with larger breasts, it also might feel kind of weird. But again, you can still do this. You just have to figure out which kind of tool you want to use. But a strap is definitely, I mean, like a belt that's cloth might be nice. This is leather, so it's like very intense. All right, that concludes our chaturanga exercise. And it's difficult, but it's also, I think, it's one of the ones that people do wrong the most. And it's because people are trying to skip steps and they want to look like they're doing a push-up, but they're not doing it correctly. They're also trying to compensate by spreading their arms and using that as a way to like ease their way down. I feel like it's easier to do that, which it feels like that at first, but you're doing really integral damage to your chest and shoulders. All right, let's move on to the warrior postures. All right, y'all, we're gonna do our warrior 1 and 2 alignment video. So, warrior 1, lots of people, basically it's the neglected pose. People will forget to do this one or rush through it, and so you will never get really the proper alignment. So come to just a straight Tadasana mountain pose in the center of your mat. Go ahead and step your right foot forward. You do about maybe like 2 to 3 feet in between your feet. And one of the misconceptions about warrior 1 is that your feet need to be on a tightrope. They shouldn't be on a tightrope. They should be on 2 parallel lines, like railroad tracks, not tightrope. And that's because our hips, especially ladies, our hips can't square on a tightrope because of the way they're set skeletally. So there's no shame in if someone says like, bring your feet closer together in line, ignore them, because really what it's about is getting your hips square towards the front of the room. I like to lift my front toes of that bent knee, so say our right leg, we sink forward. But at the same time as we're sinking forward, we're also energetically pulling back. And you can kind of feel that in your right hip, kind of feel that tugging back as your back foot is pressed down. One of the things that happens a lot with our warrior, both of our warriors, is that we compensate for having a straight leg to bend in onto our instep instead of keeping that arch as much as we can. You're not going to have like a huge arch, but you're going to try and dig into that back leg, which means that this thigh is going to be rotating out like that, even as you're pressing forward. So it's kind of a strange motion. It's almost like a spiraling motion. Your back foot is rooted down, and then that energy travels around the leg and up, and then back up this way. So it's like a spiral going up your leg. So imagine just that energy root coming from the back of the foot, spiraling around, pulling this thigh slightly out, and then it comes back around to lift you back up. So that spiraling out doesn't just stop spiraling out and spin out to the back of the room. It comes back around underneath the pelvis and up and forward. Chest moves up. We move our front knee just over top of the front ankle, not further. Don't throw your torso over top of it. You're moving up. So the energy is coming up out of that leg, moving back. And again, we have the same motion where it's spiraling, because this leg is spiraling out, but not letting that knee flail to the side. It's over top of that ankle, comes around the thigh, the energy doesn't spill out that way. It wraps around up through the pelvis. So you have these two lines of energy wrapping around like a cord, like being pulled up this way. And we're square. So feel that as if these cords are coming around and braided up. Awesome. So that's your warrior one. That's your leg and feet placement and thighs. The torso should be directly over top of your pelvis. And if you're going to do slight back bend, you can do that as well. But energetically, you're coming up from your ribs. Your shoulders shouldn't be just like up like this and limp, or your hands, I should say. They are thumbs back towards the back of the room, fingertips full of energy, lifting up. Don't rib thrust, but lift up. So lengthening up. It's like kind of the same way in down dog. You're lifting up. It's those hydraulics. So think about those hydraulics in a sleeve like that. Coming up. All right. That's your warrior one. All right. We'll go ahead and move into our warrior two. Warrior two. I'm going to do warrior two on this side. All right. Warrior two. Now this, if you're moving from a warrior one, where your toes are slightly pointed to the side, you're going to adjust your feet. So if you see someone like moving into warrior one to warrior two without adjusting their feet, that doesn't mean that's going to work for you. It's not like a weakness to adjust your feet in warrior two. To be honest, I think that should be happening, because you're going to go from that railroad track, so those two parallel lines, to having your front knee, so let's say we're at our left knee, right over top of our ankle bone, and then our heel, if you were to draw a line from the heel, it would go underneath the kind of tunnel of the arch of your back foot. So now we've actually got almost a tightrope happening. Again, same thing, where that energy is moving from that back edge of your foot. We're not caving in, we're not falling in. We're moving up and out of that. Something I heard someone say that I love is the idea of pulling the front of the mat to the back of the mat. You're pulling those together in your warrior two. So that means that energetically your legs are kind of almost like stuck in cement, but trying to move together. So that's going to cause an upward current of energy through the torso. And then we move our arms out. We take our head and look over the fingertips that are over top of our bent knee. Sink a little deeper. Make sure that your torso doesn't fall and collapse over top of your bent leg. The energy is moving through both fingertips, so one arm isn't lower than the other. We're going up and out. Feel the pelvis tilt. Okay, so one of the things that kind of works in opposition to each other in a way that lifts us up, just like our legs are doing that, they're squeezing together, shooting us up. You're having the same motion happening from the front and the back of the torso and the pelvis. So the tailbone feels like it's scooping upward this way, so it's going towards your pelvis, whereas the pelvis is tilting backwards towards it. So you have the same kind of motion of just drawing in. It's really like a strong, when you start feeling that, like coming from these four corners, so it's coming this way and this way, it's when you start to get this like incredible rush of energy up through the body, up through the crown of the head, up through the ribs, and you can rise up out of the ribs. And when you rise up out of the ribs, you're going to feel that right in here too. And it's going to be awesome. It's going to be working you a lot harder than you think, almost like you should be working. Because a lot of us can get into this posture and then you're slumped to one side. And you'll be like, I'm in it. And you'll realize as you start to practice a little more that you're finding all this weight and energy is dumping. You don't want to dump there, because what happens is your back leg will come up, and if your back leg is coming up, you're not working the warrior two the way it should be worked. I'm like out of breath just talking about it. But it's a very, it looks simpler than it is internally. So internally what's happening is a lot. It's just like, almost like a symphony of everything's coming together. It's very dramatic. It looks so still. But if you're doing a warrior two correctly, and then I say energetically, I don't mean like you're just thinking about it. It is, you'll feel it in your body. You'll feel those muscles turn on. It's not just a meta concept. It's actually physically happening. Your body is tensing, flexing, coming up. And then look over the fingertips. Again, make sure you're not coming forward. Those shoulders roll back and down. When they roll back and down, they're sitting into that hydraulic system that's then lifting up. I'm really into the hydraulic example. I don't know where that came from, but it really is. If you go watch a video of hydraulics, that's exactly what your body should be doing. All right. So that's your warrior one and warrior two alignment video. If you have any questions, or if you want to send me a picture or video of you doing it yourself to get tips, I'm always ready for it. Thanks, guys. All right. So this is going to be the second part of our alignment series, and we're going to be talking about shoulder blades. I talked about it a little bit in the down dog video, but this is where we really have the challenge of shoulder blades is in the chaturanga practice and plank. So I've had a couple of you mention that you've had shoulder pain for various reasons, and a lot of times we focus on like the shoulders, and we think if we do certain postures with the shoulders, it's all their fault that the shoulders are weak, but it might actually be the strength in our obliques and the support system for our shoulders. And that is found right underneath the shoulder blades. So I have really intense winging in my shoulder blades. And if you're not sure if you are a winger or not, you can take your left hand, reach it up between your shoulder blades, and then reach your right hand up. Kind of feel around this shoulder blade on my right side. When it's pulled up this way, it is fine. I know this one for a fact is sticking out way far, and we don't want this to be this far up off the rib cage. It should be more flush. So if they say this is like your abdomen and this is your scapula, it should be a little bit more flush, like this. So obviously I'm still a work in progress with this, and I just figured out how intense it was as I was making a chaturanga video, and I was looking, I was like, dang it, my shoulder blades are so crazy up off of my back. So one of the things we want to work on is the activation of these muscles underneath of our shoulder blade that support us. So a lot of times we put all the weight into our shoulders and arms when we're in plank, but we need to be pushing up and activating through the side body. So see how this almost doming effect happens. Now, if you're not sure if it's happening correctly or not, I just tried out putting a book on my back. A book on my back. And this helps me. So now if I start to dip like this, I can feel how unsteady that book is. If I push up and support the book, it'll start to slide up onto my neck, and I will know that I'm creating a better dome. A better dome. Now you can lower your knees just because you don't want to like strain yourself too much as you're practicing this. Your arms are going to externally rotate like that. Your head's going to be up. Now you're going to lean forward and begin to pull your elbows back. My butt's falling, which is because my shoulder blades are winging. So if you just want to practice that some, just seeing how far you can go. And like honestly, it's okay if you don't go very far. Part of the strength, this is strengthening right here. What we're doing right now is strengthening. And feel that activation happening in the side body. Maybe you pick your feet up, or pick your knees up, and begin to do toe taps on either side of the mat. So you're just learning, you're training your body to stay in position. And the book is going to keep you in line. So a lot of this is just training tools to get you to the point where you can do a chaturanga on your own without any assist. There's no shame in assist. This is also your home practice. It's important that you protect yourself. So yeah, these are some good ways. You're still working out. That's the thing. It's like you're just working out different muscles than you thought you were. And this is what learning is all about. All right, so those are for chaturanga practice. For both of you, because I'm kind of talking to two of you who asked for shoulder work, I suggest doing a lot of those chest openers. Chest openers are going to be anything that lifts you up and out here. And so if you want to do tabletop, lifting a leg, and then reaching the opposite hand around to grab that foot. I'll show you on this side. So say you pick up your right foot, take your left arm behind you, reach back, and begin to open up. It's going to open up your chest, open up your shoulders, open up all that area. You're going to feel some action happening in your side body. So yeah, these are all ways to protect your shoulders and prepare them to do anything weight bearing. So you just want to make sure you're wrapping back and around. When you're even in side plank, if you want to do a side plank with your leg down and then reach back, so I'll do it so you can see it. This is more of like a gate posture. Don't check your wing. Check your little wing. See what's happening there. This is going to add a lot of strength into the obliques. Lift up. See, okay, I'm still engaged. There we go. So those are just a couple really simple things that you can work on. And if you feel comfortable with those and you want to ask for more strength exercises, let me know. But I think those are a good place to start. Good luck to your shoulders.